My name is Michelle and welcome to my channel. Today I wanted to talk a bit more about how I've experienced the first weeks as a new mom, and I'm gonna try to be as honest as I can. It has not been easy, and I have had good times obviously, but also a few times where I've been struggling. So I want to be real, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, so when I had given birth to my baby via cesarean, I was stitched up and went into the room that we had our own room, and we stayed there 2 nights. We were allowed, or they had recommended us to stay 3 nights, but if everything looked well, we were allowed to leave a little bit earlier, which, yeah, after 2 nights, I had had enough of the hospital and wanted to get home because I'm more comfortable there. So, yeah. Or some of the reasons why I wasn't that comfortable at the hospital was because every basically hour or so, it felt like at least someone knocked on the door or wanted to come in. It was constantly asking about how the breastfeeding was going, which was good because I was obviously not an expert. I didn't know what to do. My milk had not come yet, so, and obviously my baby needed to be fed, so it was good that they share that knowledge, but it was also a bit annoying when they kept coming in, and it was always different midwives. So it was different midwives and everyone had their own way of how to get the breastfeeding going or what kind of positions you should be in, and I found it really hard because obviously after being pregnant for so long and you becoming a mom for the first time, and then you being bombarded basically with all this information about different things, and not just breastfeeding, also the recovery part. So breastfeeding as well, and having different people saying different things, it was very struggling, and you have basically you basically do not get to sleep at all, which is really hard, and then to function normally, and I guess all the hormones as well. So I found it really hard at the hospital. It felt safe because you knew that you were around people who knew what they were doing, so they were always checking up on the baby, making sure that the baby was fine, and so that was the positive side. But yeah, the negative side was, yeah, that too much information and too many different suggestions. I just felt like a big failure really when the baby wouldn't latch onto my breast. I was thinking what am I doing wrong here? And I think the problem was that she was so small, 2.6 kilos, and she was dropping weight, which is very common in the beginning. I think the babies usually drop about 10%, but she ended up losing 11.6%, but so we actually had to make sure that she was fed. I was basically pumping, but yeah, let's not jump ahead. I'm gonna get to that. Anyway, so she was losing weight, and yeah, so I think the problem with the breastfeeding, for me at least, was that she wasn't latching on to my breast because she was just too small, and I don't have big nipples. Sorry if that's too much information. So that really didn't match good. So she couldn't latch on and she couldn't feed, and my milk then supply didn't come that quick then because of that. So, and it was really struggling because I had to try all these positions, and the baby was crying, and I was forcing her little face to my breast, and I was just feeling so awful. And the midwives were just saying keep trying, and I was just feeling like I was completely failing. Yeah, but I think many or all moms do in the beginning, you're self-pumping yourself, expressing the milk or colostrum. That first little fatty milk, yeah, I managed to squeeze a lot of that out. So I knew that I would have a good supply of milk, or that the milk were on its way, but it wasn't coming quick enough. But no one was really worried the first 1 or 2 days when I was at the hospital. So we went home, And then according to the program that I was in via the hospital, where you have a specific midwife or a team of 3 midwives that you get to see during the whole pregnancy, according to that program, I was I had a visit from my midwife at home as well, so that was really comfortable. So when she came home to us and measured and weighed the baby, we could see that the baby was losing a lot of weight, and like I said before, 11.6%. So straight away we had to make sure that we had a pump, and we had to make sure that that the milk was coming. We did actually go and bought formula so we could give her at least one good bottle of like proper food, so she would gain a little weight. And I mean, the first week I was just basically trying to breastfeed. We bought this nipple shield as well because I had read about it, and I don't know why, but it felt like no midwife, at least at the hospital that I was at, were really pro nipple shield, so they didn't really like it. But my midwife, because we had a problem of feeding our baby, she said that I was a good candidate to try it. So I tried the nipple shield, and I managed to actually breastfeed my baby with that, which was amazing. First time since the beginning she actually fed, and that was for me feeling a bit better, considering I've been feeling like a big loser or failure the whole time there at the hospital. So yeah, so she could feed a bit from with the nipple shield, but it took a little time until the milk started coming or flowing, or didn't take that much actually. It took maybe during one day when we got the pump, and I managed to get a lot of it out, and we started to feeding her. And so we fed her sometimes with a bottle of breast milk, and also sometimes managed to have her latching on my breast with the help of the nipple shield. So she kept eating and started to gain weight again, and so I was told by my midwife, at least for 2-3 weeks, after I breastfed her with nipple shield or not, that I had to breast pump as well. So I felt like a cow, or like a food machine. I was like constantly doing something for the baby, and it was really hard. That I felt like I never got a break, and obviously the baby wakes up every 2nd or 3rd hour as well, so you don't really get that full sleep during the night. And especially in the beginning, I had to make sure that I also made with breast pumping and feeding her, so I didn't lose any supply. Man, it was a struggle, and I was also recommended to try to take the nipple shield away, have her feeding on my breast, and I mean, I think that was too much, because we're still struggling today, and she's more than 6 weeks now. We're still struggling with her latching onto my breast. She sometimes managed to, and then she eats a little bit, but then she gets annoyed because she's so used to the nipple shield now. But I think to introduce or try to weigh her off the nipple shield that early, and especially when I was feeling like a cow in the beginning, I think that was just too much at once. So I wish I wouldn't have had to worry about that then. But I remember the first 2-3 weeks feeling very, very like a loser. Not a loser, but a failure. Because I felt like whatever I was doing, I couldn't deliver, basically. I couldn't do it right. And they was recommending me as well, my midwife, the first week, she recommended me to book in a time or an appointment with the breastfeeding service or center service at the hospital. So I would have a session there with I don't remember the name of that, what type of doctor that is, lactose something, breastfeeding expert, let's call it that. And I wasn't looking forward to go there. I was so tired, because also I didn't mention this, but when you're at the hospital, everyone is squeezing your breast basically. I mean, you just feel your body, your breast doesn't belong to you anymore. And I think I struggled with that too. I felt that was annoying, or not annoying, but yeah, like a piece of me wasn't mine anymore, and it's still stuck on my body, and everyone seems to be allowed to squeeze and push and do, and I couldn't really say no, because I mean, it was for my baby. Of course I'm gonna allow them to show me how to feed her and how to hold my breast if that's what I need to do. But yeah, struggling. I struggle a bit with that. But I went to this breastfeeding service appointment that I had, and I cried in that room as well. It was one woman who was super sweet, had the same name as me, Michelle, and she was showing me, because I told her that I am now, like at that point I was actually breastfeeding very well with the nipple shield, and told her that, and that I said that eventually we want to just being able to breastfeed without it. But I think it was just too soon. I wasn't ready, I think, but I wanted to be ready, but I wasn't, I think. So we tried a few positions and the baby just kept crying, and I think at that somewhere there I started crying myself, because it was like just heartbreaking, and I was just like so done being sad and so done feeling like I was doing everything the wrong way, and that I couldn't make get anything, like I didn't get it. Like it was, I was at that point just felt broken. So but we managed to make her feed a little bit from my chest, and after a lot of sweat and tears. But even her, the expert there, she said that I should just keep going with the nipple shield for a little bit longer, because obviously she said as well, you're not ready, and that is fine. But then eventually tried to wait. She's crying down there, but she's with her dad. She's fine. So yeah, so she said keep going with that, and after a while try to do without it a bit, or when you're comfortable. So I'm not there yet, because I don't know, I've tried a few times a little bit, but I don't feel like she's really, she's so comfortable with how the nipple shield feels, and not so much with how my breast feels. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. But yeah, after that appointment I was just so tired, but it felt good that even the expert there suggested that I was going to keep going with the nipple shield. So the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, I want to say, I think I cried every day, and sometimes more than once a day. Was I depressed? Am I depressed? Honestly, maybe yes, and maybe yes and no. I feel like if you haven't slept well, if your life has been turned upside down, if you feel like you're failing in everything, and breastfeeding, she lost, like I said, a lot of weight. I had to just make the milk supply come straight up as fast as I could, and be stuck to the pump and try to feed her. It was breast milk everywhere, still everywhere. And my mom and my sister, who I'm very close with, they are in Sweden, which is the other side of the planet, and I'm here in Australia. So I was missing my two best friends basically, and who wouldn't be a bit depressed, I guess, or sad or down. And yeah, it is a lot of pressure on the woman, even though there's two parents, and the mom, the one who breastfeeds, obviously it's going to be a bit more pressure on her. That's what I'm trying to say, because she is the food basically. Even though I could breast pump and have my partner, my husband, feed her via a bottle, it's still you that need to make sure that there is a bottle there with milk in it, right? So you need to breast pump, and so it's a lot of pressure on the woman or on the mom. And I think I felt that pressure during the first week. So I think I was pretty low. But I wouldn't say I was low or depressed because I had a baby there. Sure, it was times where I felt like and still is, where I feel like I don't know how how to comfort her, and I don't know what she wants. I've tried everything, fed her, changed her, tried to make her sleep a bit, played with her, and she's still crying, and I don't understand why, like there's still times like that, but in the beginning obviously there were times like that too. But I never felt depressed of having her in my life, or feeling that, the overwhelming feeling of maybe having the responsibility over someone else. That was not my problem. My problem was, I think, it was just too much around. It was too much of everything else. And I have always been, the goody girl, like good grades in school, and always wanted to do the right thing, always wanted to be fair. So I think I struggled with those parts because I felt like I was constantly failing. And I think that's why I've been very down, or I feel like I should do more. Like, for example, with my cesarean, during these 6 weeks, I've had 2 infections, or at least 2 times where I've had to go to the doctor and tell him or her that it's swollen and red, and I don't know, I think it's infected, and they've given me antibiotics. So I mean, I've been struggling with that too. So I was in pain as well the first 2-3 weeks, and the scar wasn't, like, the scar on the outside was healing, but it looked still like red and very swollen. So I've struggled. That has been part of my journey the last 6 weeks. So I guess, yeah, it's a bit overwhelming, and especially when you don't really have anyone else to get that that can help you or give you that pause that you might need now and then. My partner, my husband, has given me, I'm so happy to have him. He's been very supportive, but at the same time he's now working full time and is on, like, doing his own, like, business right now, and that takes a lot of time. So it's a lot of, like, it's a lot of responsibility for me right now with the baby, making sure that we're going to the doctors. And I've been at the mother's group, met my mother's group 2 times as well. It's just a lot of pressure. And what do I want to say with that? I don't really want to say anything, and not necessarily even change anything. I think it's more of I just need to adjust, and I think that's taken a little bit. It's taking time, and I think that's okay. Like, I think I'm not the only one struggling a bit as a new mom, and especially when so many of your close family, or like in my case, my mom and my sister, my mom who's now trying to call me, when they are so far away, my mom and my sister and my best friend as well over there. So I'm feeling much better now, and have been feeling well for a while. Sometimes I still get overwhelmed and feel like I need a pause and a break, really. But I'm starting to learn to live with this new way of life with my little girl. And I guess the challenges that we have right now, I would say, is that she gets very fuzzy during the day. So if I managed to get her to sleep, and I tried to put her in her pram or put her down for a nap, she wakes up maybe 5 or 10 minutes later, and just want to be held and carried, and that makes it harder for me to do anything else in the house. So I'm struggling a little bit with how to get that time where I can just eat without holding my baby, or where I can just do laundry without, she's crying and I have to go and take care of her. So that's the challenge right now, just to get that little, like, space. And I do have that hugabub, or I don't know what you call it, a shawl, to carry her in. And my husband seemed to be working, like, it works fine for him. But when I try to use it, she just keeps crying and crying, and I don't know if that's because my boobs are in the way or anything, but I'm still like, I'm determined to make that work, because that would free my hands. But I'm sure that will be solved soon. Like, looking back, I feel like, poor Michelle. she was trying so hard, and I wish I would maybe have and I guess this could be interesting as well to share. I wish now that someone maybe would have told me that I didn't need to, I guess, do everything, and that it's okay. And I don't know, I think the pressure comes from me. I am the one who's putting pressure on me, and it feels like it's coming pressure, like that pressure comes from people around me. But I think I was my hardest judge as well. So I think I could have let myself breathe a bit. I think if you recognize anything from what I've been saying this whole video, I think that you should go get a mirror and look at yourself and tell yourself that you don't need to do everything, because I think that is something I needed to be reminded. I would have been needed to be reminded of. Well, I think this video became way too long and I've been talking way too much, so I'm gonna end it here. But yeah, thank you so much if you watched the whole video, for watching. And if there is anything that you might wonder or have questions about, please comment below. If not, thank you again, and I hope I see you in my next video. Bye.